All right, so I want to continue to talk about like tagging by category and then tagging by material and tagging by the generic annotations. So we just loaded some generic annotations in there. This is one of them. If I pick it, you can see it's over here, generic material finish, and it's a generic annotation. For material finishes, you can actually tag the material itself, or you can use the generic annotations. You're going to see it used differently in different offices, so just ask what version they're using. So, for example, if I come in and let me delete this guy, and I'll delete that guy. Let's just go ahead and delete all these material tags here for right now. So if I come in and I go to annotate and I go to material tag and I pick this guy, let's go ahead and put a leader line on it, and I click on that and click on that and click on that, it gives me a WP1. That's coming from that wall itself, the material. So if I go to edit type and edit that material and edit that finish pattern, you're going to see in the identity it says WP1. And let's see, we'll add a description of wall tile. This is actually going to go away there. Okay, click OK. Okay, okay. So that's what it's doing. If I were to take this and right click on it and create similar, then that's going to tag that one as G1, right? Because that chipboard is set to G1. Now, if we look at this in plan, that seems pretty simple, but it gets really complicated very quickly. Like this, I have a separate wall floating on top of it. So if that wall was not separate, like I'm basically for the finish, I'm tagging the material here. I'm not actually tagging the wall, right? I'm tagging the material. If I wanted to make that a part of the wall assembly, I would have to split this wall into multiple different parts. So you either have to float the finish over the top or use the generic annotation tags. So if this was not something that added thickness to the wall, like if it was paint, if I just delete this, right, then if we go back to our interior elevation, that tag goes away because I deleted it. And now if I go to material tag, it will tag that as X1, right? Because it's actually tagging the chipboard, right? It's not tagging a color or a paint or anything. It's tagging that assembly of the chipboard. So if I wanted to go in and have multiple different colors on those chipboards, I'd have to split that wall, those walls all apart, and make different wall types for every one with a different color, and that gets very difficult to do. So what you can do is you can go in and tag them with the generic annotations. So again, you could do either, but you can also tag with generic annotations. So if I delete this and delete this and delete those material tags, I can go to the annotate tab and go to the symbol. And if I go to the pull down, in there will be a generic material finish. Now if I click on that, I can go ahead and I can put the leaders on before or after, but I'll just put a leader on here and place that. And it doesn't really care where it is. You notice it doesn't stick to anything. It's just pointing at that. And you can change this text to whatever you want, right? So I could say that's paint 1, and then I could copy this guy over and say that's paint 2, right? And then I could copy this over to here and maybe move it down a little bit. See, it's not connected to anything. It's not reading from anything. I'm just giving it information. So if I copy this over again, right? There's that guy. maybe that's PT2. Right? And then I'll copy this over. So you kind of get the point. These guys are just, and that would be PT1, right? And then PT2 maybe for sky. And we'll just get rid of the, and we'll make that PT2. Okay, so those are just reading out. So again, if I went to the architecture and material, or sorry, annotate and material tag, it's going to read what's on that wall, right? So whatever's on that wall, it's going to tag it. So it's going to tag this guy as MW1, right? Because that's what the, let's get rid of that leader line. Because that's what it's reading on the material. This is actually a generic annotation. So if I delete that and I go to annotate and pick the symbol, I can get that generic FF&E and place it here. And it just doesn't even know what it is, right? Yeah, because it's just blank. So I can just say WM1, right? Wall material 1 there. So it's just, you can put whatever you want in it. So when we come back, we'll look at how both of those schedule, the materials and the generic annotations.